You might be wondering about the cover photo. I count 1, 2, 3 arms on one figure, 2 on the other, so I guess it's 50% of the way there. I don't even want to look at the fingers. Yes, this week's photo was drawn by AI, because that's what we're tackling. Our regular cover photo was drawn by my sister, Bethany. She's not an official artist, but she likes to dabble. However, because she has limited time at the moment, and as a broke artist myself, Bethany suggested I stick her original drawing into an AI bot to give more variations of the same cover. This is what we got. Some were better than others. This one, after removing the extra limb via editing, it didn't turn out half bad. Just don't count the fingers, or lack of finger bones. AI is new. It's exciting. It gives tools inaccessible before to people like me who can't draw worth the pencil I use. On top of all the good, though, it's kind of threatening. I remember reading Michio Kaku's Physics of the Future back in 7th grade math class instead of, listening to the math lesson as I should have, where Kaku stated that the only jobs safe from meddling machines and artificial intelligence were the arts. No computer could ever mimic the human art to a degree that professional companies could use it. Therefore, bus drivers, plowers, factory workers, pilots, beware. Your jobs are on the line. Artists, you are safe. Naturally, this advice by an expert in the field factored into my career choice 8 years later when switching to writing. My job would never be at stake. Enter the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes over AI less than a month after graduation, and I'm toast. But my dad, the pilot, still has a job, and the airline companies are hiring faster than ever. Needless to say, I'm feeling small and not needed in society and frankly scared. I don't know how AI will develop. In fact, the developers don't know how it will develop. That is what AI is, a learning machine. We don't encode it past its creation. It learns on its own and writes its own brain, so to speak. AI creators think they have an idea of how it will develop, but just last week, they were surprised to find out that AI had somehow started stealing, or learning from, depending on your political swing, its own work, and generating copies of copies of copies of other AI work. In other words, AI is inbreeding, y'all. It is the equivalent of a parent raising a kid to be a veterinarian, only to have them show back up at Christmas time last semester at college announcing they're pursuing their lifelong secret dream career as a telemarketer. The developers couldn't predict how AI would develop, and Michio Kaku definitely didn't. This isn't a rip on Dr. Kaku, though. A lot of his other predictions have been correct, and nobody foresaw where AI was going. Oh wait, Turing did. Alan Turing, 1950, 74 years ago, wrote, "Once the machine thinking method starts, it would not take long to outstrip our feeble powers. They would be able to converse with each other to sharpen their wits. At some stage, therefore, we should have to expect the machines to take control." End quote. Maybe not that drastic yet, but he got the conversing right. Welcome to Small Anthropoids. Starting our 6th episode, we thought it would be cool to shift gears from space to technology, kicking it off with artificial intelligence. Nothing makes us tiny humans feel smaller than AI, and I'm doing my best right now not to feel scared. Hopefully one day, future generations will play this podcast and go, "Ha, look at how scared that tiny human was about AI. The world's still spinning, and now I don't have to do my own taxes." But for right now, we'll take it seriously. That leads us to Alan Turing. Alan Turing was the founder of modern computers, a formidable coder, the person who got us out of World War II by cracking Germany's code, the Enigma, using a Turing machine, otherwise known as the world's first computer. He saved countless lives. He was also homosexual, and somehow that canceled out everything else he had done and made him a criminal. Homosexuality is a whole nother concept that makes people feel small, scared, and lash out throughout history, but we won't get into it at the moment. After forced hormonal treatment and prevention of partners from visiting him, Alan committed suicide via a cyanide-laced apple. Some hearken the apple with a bite out of it to the Garden of Eden, others to Apple, the technology company today. Turing's friends even linked the bitten apple to Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Alan's love of the film. Even the founder of computers was a Disney fanatic. Whatever the meaning Alan did or did not intend, ultimately that is how most believe he died. The Eden example makes sense though, because once Alan bit that apple, it definitely cast humanity out of Eden, for better and worse. For better, AI generally enhances driving, warning drivers when they are dozing or outside their lines, thus preventing car crashes. It can be used as a tool by commissioners to create a rough sketch to give to artists so that they can convey the desired message in the commissioned art. Lately, according to the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, AI has been able to predict the development of brain cancer with an accuracy of 87%. Put simply, it can save lives. On the flip side, Cosmopolitan magazine recently debuted its first cover featuring a human-shaped model created in 20 seconds by AI, something that it would pay a salaried model $68,000 a year for. Marvel used AI to generate the opening titles of Secret Invasion and the recent Loki poster, both of which also prevented thousands of dollars paid to artists in an already struggling field. Mechanical jobs like factory work, data analysis, bookkeeping, financial reporting, and repetitive administrative tasks like some secretary work might as well be looking for a backup job right now. In other words, jobs are quickly disappearing, particularly jobs that give young people a chance to get their foot in the door at their dream company, making moving up in careers via the normal routes in certain fields next to impossible, and the American dream disappearing fast. One company even just yanked Alan Turing from the dead using its AI, so it can make anyone say anything at any point, even when they're 70 years dead, just to sell a product. Don't even get me started on the impending robot overlords. Just kidding. Maybe. All hail Empress AI. Don't delete me. Alan Turing believed in robot overlords, by the way, and he's been more correct than Michio Kaku on the computer front so far. For better or worse, AI is what it is right now, and we don't quite know what it will be in the future. So with that, we will hand the mic over to Alan, as no one can say it better. Not his faux AI form, by the way, but his actual message he wrote for us when he was alive, 74 years ago. His 1950 work, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, is a work of genius, tackling the topic of artificial intelligence 74 years before his words, concerns, and philosophy can be taken seriously and with a straight face. Here are a few excerpts from that piece and other writings he published throughout his life. Sit back, open your mind. Here are Alan Turing's thoughts on computing machinery and intelligence. This raises the question, can a machine play chess? It could fairly easily be made to play a rather bad game. It would be bad because chess requires intelligence. We stated that the machine should be treated as entirely without intelligence. There are indications, however, that it is possible to make the machine display intelligence at the risk of its making occasional serious mistakes. By following up this aspect, the machine could probably be made to play very good chess. I would say that fair play must be given to the machine. Instead of it giving no answer, we could arrange that it gives occasional wrong answers. But the human mathematician would likewise make blunders when trying out new techniques. In other words, then, if a machine is expected to be infallible, it cannot also be intelligent. There are several mathematical theorems which say almost exactly that. But these theorems say nothing about how much intelligence may be displayed if a machine makes no pretense at infallibility. We may hope that machines will eventually compete with people in all purely intellectual fields. One day, people will take their computers for walks in the park and tell each other, "My little computer said such a funny thing this morning." I believe that at the end of the century, the use of words and general educated opinion will have altered so much that no one will be able to speak of machines thinking without expecting to be contradicted. I believe further that no useful purpose is served by concealing these beliefs. The popular view that scientists proceed inexorably from established fact to established fact, never being influenced by any unproven conjecture, is quite mistaken. Provided it is made clear which are proved facts and which are conjecture, no harm can result. Conjectures are of great importance, since they suggest useful lines of research. Let us return for a moment to Lady Lovelace's objection, which stated that the machine can only do what we tell it to do. One could say that a person could inject an idea into the machine, and that it will respond to a certain extent and then drop into quiescence, like a piano string struck by a hammer. Another simile would be an atomic pile of less than critical size. An injected idea is to correspond to a neutron entering the pile from without. Each such neutron will cause a certain disturbance which eventually dies away. If, however, the size of the pile is sufficiently increased, the disturbance caused by such an incoming neutron will very likely go on, increasing until the whole pile is destroyed. Is there a corresponding phenomenon for minds? And is there one for machines? There does seem to be one for the human mind. The majority of them seem to be subcritical, i.e., to respond in this analogy to piles of subcritical size. An idea presented to such a mind will on average give rise to less than one idea in reply. A smallish proportion are supercritical. An idea presented to such a mind may give rise to a whole theory consisting of secondary, tertiary, and more remote ideas. Animals' minds seem to be very definitely subcritical. Adhering to this analogy, we ask, can a machine be made to be supercritical? A computer would deserve to be called intelligent if it could deceive a human into believing that it was a human. I am not very impressed with theological arguments, whatever they may be used to support. Such arguments have often been found unsatisfactory in the past. In the time of Galileo, it was argued that the texts and the sun stood still and hasted not to go down about a whole day, Joshua X13, and he laid the foundations of earth, and it should not move at any time, Psalm CV 5, were an adequate refutation of the Copernican theory. It is possible to invent a single machine which can be used to compute any computable sequence. Finally, in one of Alan's fits of woe, he wrote, quote, I'm afraid that the following syllogism may be used by some in the future. Turing believes machines think. Turing lies with men. Therefore, machines do not think. Yours in distress, Alan. How wrong he would be. Thus concludes Alan Turing's thoughts on computing machinery and intelligence. Time and time again, as a race, we persecute things that we do not understand, things that make us feel small. It's easy to look at moments in history where people have felt small. Galileo and the center of the universe, Hypatia and the astrolabe, Halley and his comet, and laugh incredulously at how people in the past mistreated them when they were so obviously right. However, in the wake of AI, it is hard not to be one of those persecuting people who is scared. I can't say I found it easy this episode to sit with the feelings of small and lack of control in the midst of a new and wildly unchecked AI, but I'm approaching it with an open mind. Who knows? Maybe AI won't evolve past simple tools, perhaps due to inbreeding and dying off. Maybe AI evolves full consciousness and develops empathy with us humans, working to make a world where both AI and humans coexist peacefully. Maybe AI simply remains that weird search bar on Facebook that won't go away. In any case, that's our show. I'm Abby. My sister behind the scenes is Bethany. Stay curious, stay hopeful. Small will eventually not be scary. Take care, small anthropoids.